Hello everyone! Today we will be making a table from epoxy resin and a slab of hornbeam, a budget-friendly option. After sanding the top side, we move on to sanding the edges of the tabletop. The slab is already prepared, and this is the slab we will be using. We cleaned it from bark and leveled it. We are using a not very thick slab, because the cost of the slab directly depends on its thickness. We begin pouring, of course, by making the form. We are making it with tape, as the resin comes off more easily.
We apply a sealant everywhere. It's very important to do this to avoid losing any resin. We go through all the corners thoroughly.
We mix our components, resin and hardener. In total, we get 4 kilograms of resin. We will pour it in one layer at a time. For the coffee table, we need 4 kilograms of resin in total. We will make our table in blue, so we add a little bit of blue dye. We add 1 drop at a time and gradually adjust the color to avoid overdoing it with the dye, so the table stays transparent. This is the beautiful blue shade we got. We wanted it to be light. I want it to look like river water. And now the most important part. What will we do to save on resin? We place the slab face down, meaning the bottom side is on top. What you see now is the face of the slab resting on the form. When the resin hardens, we will flip the table face up, and it will look like glass. It will look like glass resting on the slab, and it holds very well. Resin is a very hard material, so even a thin layer will work fine. After 3 days, the resin hardened, and we began sanding. Now we will sand the surface. During sanding, as often happens, small holes appeared. We fill them with wood filler. You can fill each hole with your finger like this. It's better to do this with a little extra, because the filler sinks into the holes. Then we will do the final sanding. We could pour more resin, but that would take more time, as the resin would need 2 or 3 more days to dry. The wood filler dries by the next day, in about 12 hours. So, it's easier for us to fill everything with filler. And, of course, don't leave the holes unattended. It's best to fill each hole properly. Now that all our holes are filled, we wait for a day and proceed with the final sanding of the table. The next day, we do the final sanding of the table. This is how the filled holes look. If you want, you can use darker colored filler, or mix the filler with wood shavings from the first sanding. This way, the color of the filler will perfectly match the color of the wood. After sanding the top side, we move on to sanding the edges of the tabletop. Here you can see the thickness of the resin. The slab is slightly not covered by resin. But visually, it looks very good. And you can save on resin this way. We blow away the unnecessary dust and proceed to treat the table with oil. My favorite part. Because when you apply the oil, the texture of the wood really comes to life, it looks amazing. We apply oil in 2 layers, allowing each to soak in, and after 12 hours, we apply the second layer. This is the beautiful table made from epoxy resin and a slab that we got. A budget-friendly option. We spent very little money. It looks so thin, like a thin piece of glass from the side. We won't be using these legs, we just used them temporarily. There will be a rectangular base instead. We will decide on the legs later. In my opinion, it turned out very nice and beautiful, and it didn't cost much at all. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get such a beautiful and amazing table. Thank you for watching our video to the end.